Welcome to the shop. Got myself the Arrows Bigfoot. It's a 1.3 meter STOL plane. Runs on 3S. Pretty capable plane, as you'll see in the video. I'm going to go through, like all my videos, going to go through the unboxing. In this case, I just have the parts already out of the box. And oh, by the way, it sounds like, everybody, when I asked in one of my later polls, folks still like the unboxing and reviewing of parts. My video is going to have chapters. If you want to watch that, watch it. If not, skip ahead. Go to the Maiden. If you don't want a Maiden, skip to the summary if you want. It's up to you. That's why I put the chapters in there. Make it a little easier for you to navigate. Anyway, going to go through that Maiden flight. Going to go through the flight where I push it. And then in the end, I'm going to summarize. Who's this plane for? What makes this a good, let's say, beginner plane, or a good STOL plane, or a good first plane, or whatever it might be. I'm going to go through those reasons in my mind, my opinion on what that is. So, going to get a lot out of this video, I hope so. If you like what I'm doing, hit that like button. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Appreciate it. Stick around. So I already took everything out of the box, but I'm going to walk you through some of the parts, some of the things I noticed. First, as I'm grabbing hence the 4-inch tires, hence the name Bigfoot. The landing gear is exactly from the Ranger, FMS Ranger, same kind of setup, which is a very durable aluminum landing gear. The tires, 4-inch, they're not squishy, but they're not rock hard either. I'm anxious to do some landing on our hard asphalt, see how that works. It's a screw together configuration for everything. So there are no glue on parts. Foam hinges, rudder, vertical stabilizer, pretty rigid. The horizontal stabilizer, it doesn't feel like there is any carbon fiber in there. I can't tell, but it sure flexes a fair amount. So we'll see. Anyway, foam hinge, looked like a fair amount of control surface for STOL plane capabilities. Propeller, I noticed it's heavy. Not that that's a problem or anything, but it's just different. I wasn't expecting it to have that weight. Carbon fiber spar for the wings for strength. Bag of parts, couple control rods, clevises, screws, couple different sizes of screws, prop nut, cotter pins for the struts, and a Y connector for the flaps. The wings, same struts that the FMS Ranger has, except these will fit on with a cotter pin. So if you want to remove the 4 screws in the top and remove the cotter pin, you can take off the wings, which is kind of handy. The other part is this one does have landing light and nav lights on the side. Looks a lot like the wing of the Sky Cruiser that I just played around with. Very similar. Fuselage. Basically got all the pieces, all the cabling here so I can take a look at it. I'm going to install a Lemon 7-channel and hook that up using the vector system they have in here. Looks like a very easy installation. This one has a little latch right there. Not sure how if I'm gonna change any of this out. With this flimsy strap, maybe go with a better strap, remove the Velcro, put something else in. I tend to not care for Velcro to hold my batteries in, but sometimes you don't have a choice. That's just how it's going to be. Sturdy frame. I mean, it's similar to the Sky Ranger frame, of pretty rigid. So when and or if it breaks, easy to repair, depending on how bad I pile it in if I crash it. So anyway, all that looks good. Assembly should take no time at all, be super fast. And then we'll set it up and fly it. But right now, that's it for all the pieces and parts. And we're gonna just install the landing gear. Pretty simple, keys into place. And then you got this guy that goes over top. And it can only really go in one way. that one down. These are the smaller of the machine screws. Tail pieces go together like so. Now here we put on this little piece of double stick tape, which calls for it, so we're going to use it. And that's going to go right there. And then this make sure the tail wheel goes where it's supposed to go. In between, there's some plastic pieces underneath here. Let me show you. Right there. See that? That's where that goes. And eventually we're going to make sure that this is pushed down all the way, like so. And then there's a screw that goes through that to kind of lock that together. So, got our double stick tape holding that where it needs to be held. And then we've got some of these longer screws. These are the 26mm screws. I'm going to just get my stand out and do this, but we're just going to do it this way for right now. Drop those in. Real quick, so one thing I had to do, that hole right there with that screw, which is one of these, it wasn't self-tapping into the other side. It went into this side, but on that other side there, it wasn't self-tapping. So, took a little drill bit, went through there, through the other side, just went in just a little bit, enough to where it started self-tapping, and it screwed all the way in. So, just wanted to make a note of that. Okay. So, we've got lights on both sides here. They are right here. And those go, make sure I got those in, red to red, black to black, red to red, black to black. And got a bit of a challenging mess. We will be putting zip ties in to clean all that up. Shove it all in here for testing purposes to make sure everything's moving the right way. All right, so that's all set. Got that done. Got the radio, or the receiver is bound, and now we're going to plug it in and just make sure everything's moving properly. The control horns for the elevator and rudder are not connected yet. Just wanted to get everything up and running so I can double check a couple things. Ailerons are moving. I can hear the elevator moving properly.
Takeoff flaps.
Got the flaps are moving in the right directions, and that's all working good. So that's all good. Now what I'm going to do is just clean everything up. Get the control rods for the tail section done, put the struts on, get those all squared away. And then we're basically going to go through that final test, control surfaces, so on and so forth. Stay tuned. All right, so I have the elevator here. If I were to put this on here, it isn't aligned properly, meaning it's not centered. So I'm going to turn this in or out to get the elevator, which here is about neutral or even with the stabilizer. I don't want up and I don't want down. And I'm going to put this in the middle hole. If I look at it, it's still up. So drive it in a little bit more. And sometimes you got to fiddle with it to get it where you want. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to press those together. They should. Boy, that pin in the clevis doesn't go in all the way. It's like it's a little too big. So what I'm going to do is, I'm hoping that this drill that I have on there is about the right size. It is. It's just a hair difference. I think I used this when I did the Sky Cruiser, that drill bit. So now, boy, it still doesn't fit all the way through. There it goes. All right. So these little hand drills are awfully handy. Going to do this to the rudder as well. The wing area, all the wires were a mess, so zip tied a bunch of them together. Then got my LemonRC or Lemon receiver in there. Put the antennas, basically perpendicular to one another. Everything looked good there. So I noticed that, well, when I put the wings on, probably should have thought about how this strut connects. As you can see, I don't think I can push that without wrecking something. So I'm going to disconnect it here, unscrew that screw, slide this on, screw that in, and then I'm good to go on both of those. So then she'll be fully assembled by then. It comes with these little clips that connect the struts. I didn't like it because I wasn't going to remove them anyway, so I just used some screws. First thing I did, after I flew it a couple times, I swapped out the prop for an APC 11x7. The other thing I did is add some ventilation to the ESC by adding 2 holes by that front light. The stock tail wheel was pretty hard, and on my asphalt surface, it didn't have any grip at all. It just slid around, so I swapped it out for a soft foam tire. Not a big fan of Velcro, period. It peels off the plywood or plastic, and it's just kind of a pain. So, what I like to do is put a light coat of E6000 on the plywood, brush it on, let it dry, and then apply the Velcro, and that ain't coming up. Original setup per book. After I flew it a while, I just put everything at 100%. Upcoming next is my setup page with the CG, the battery, all the pieces and parts that I'm using for this plane. The Arrows Bigfoot. Just did a range check. Everything looks good. Gonna take her up, trim her out, test a few things. Got a 4-minute timer, 2200 3S. Everything checks out. Let's do it. A little squirrely on my takeoff. I have a feeling we're gonna need some up elevator. That's it so far. A little bit more. That's it. Let's see. I think I'm going to go a little more.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
She just wants a little bit more. I'm happy with that right there. All right, got her trimmed. Test out the gyro. We're going to go into
AS3X mode.
It says AS3X, but it's not AS3X. It's just same thing, but with the vector system. Let's do a STOL. I'm gonna come by, do a low flow flyby. Let's get up there and do a stall test. It's a 3S.
2 minutes.
Pull back. And she just kind of mushes. Drop a wing a little bit. Come back here, we're going to give a little flap.
Takeoff flaps.
I have a slight mix in there, which that looks like it's about the right mix. Let's do a stall with half flap. Boy, she just mushes. Look at that. Just that's what you want in a plane like this.
Landing flaps.
Now we got full flap. I'm going to do the same thing. Full back. A little bit of throttle. She just kind of wallows. Drops a wing a little bit, but hardly. I mean, I'm just, no,
Flaps up.
pretty solid.
Time remaining 1 minute.
All right, let's check the CG. Maybe get up there and go inverted. Got to push forward on the stick a little bit, but nothing crazy. All right,
Takeoff flaps.
let's try out a couple landings here. A couple approaches. Half flap.
20 seconds.
I have a FMS battery alarm in there, so as soon as it gets to 3.5 or 3.6 volts is when I set up the alarm. Slow flight.
Landing flaps.
Got full flap now. Just cruising around. Boy, easy flying plane. I mean, from a tail dragger trainer perspective is what I would say. Pretty uneventful. The way I like a Maiden. Let's get back here and take a look at some things. But
Flaps up.
I don't think I'd change anything. I'm gonna take off, left to right. I'm going to do a slow flyby the runway. The lights look good.
Landing flaps. Time remaining 4 minutes.
I'm going to do another super slow flyby. Yeah, just keep practicing doing that lineup on approaches, Bob. Just kind of come across the runway, don't touch down, but see if you can just go right down that center line, and then just feed throttle in and out to kind of keep you at the same altitude. Don't touch down. It's lava. Don't touch. Runway's lava.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
Time up.
Takeoff flaps. Flaps up. Time remaining 2 minutes.
This plane will do it all. I'm a big fan of the Bigfoot.
It's got a good power to.
Outside loop. It's a 3S. I changed the prop on it. That's the only thing I've done.
Landing flaps.
I put a much more efficient prop on than the stock prop. But the flight envelope is awesome. Yeah, it's an impressive plane. It's a tail dragger, which makes life a little different. But from just a slow flyability, cruising around.
So would you consider this a beginner plus?
Yeah, I would. I'm rating this as if you really like, if you really like a STOL plane as your first plane, this is a keeper. And to land, I just pull up elevator. Dang it! Can't land. Can't end on that. I thought I was about a foot higher off the ground than I was. Dang it! I hate that. All right, let's try a better one here. Let's see. So what I like about it is I can just give full up elevator.
Oh, there you go.
And it just shoves down. You can do on the mains landing. It bounces a little, but not too bad. But it's a tail dragger, so the ground handling when you're trying to do some things is a little harder. But a STOL landing, just I pulled straight back on the elevator. It doesn't stall.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Welcome back to the shop. All right, so you saw me fly this thing. You saw the assembly, the modifications I made, all of that. Ultimately, for me, it's how does the plane fly? I like the looks of like a Cessna 150 tail dragger. Absolutely, the looks, the lights, the flaps, the extra little features, outstanding. But more importantly, is the performance of the plane. So, and from that standpoint, this is I think a wonderful beginner plane. It'll fly incredibly slow. It's durable. It has long flight times. It has low cost. Everything that you want from a beginner plane, this one brings. I really enjoy flying my FMS Ranger, but this I found a lot more fun from a bush plane perspective, a STOL plane perspective. With the flaps and such, it adds a lot to it. Both great trainers, great beginner planes. This one for me, I had a little bit more, as a more intermediate or more skilled pilot, I was still having a lot of fun with this, really flying crazy with it. So from a beginner level, taking this plane to aerobatics is a great plane to have for that first plane, as long as you keep it relatively in one piece. Good news is, there's probably plenty of parts out there for this, and they're in stock and relatively low cost. That's the other thing, with these planes, just making sure they're low cost at that entry level. So all in all, I can't say enough good stuff about this plane. Do I, wish the wings were removable? Yeah, that would be probably, to me, that would be the best thing. Can they be removed? Sure they can, but you got to unplug 25 things. I don't want to mess with that. Could you replace the plugs and make it easier? Yeah, you could probably do that too. But anyway, made a couple mods that to me made this plane a little bit better. Mainly the power, just changing the prop. Change to an 11.7 prop made a big difference to me on the flyability, a little bit better performance, more efficiency. So all in all, this plane is for everyone. Beginner, intermediate, advanced pilot would have a blast with this. One more thing that would maybe take it to the next level, and that is have a way to put floats on it. Or floats on it would be ideal. Snow skis? I think I could put snow skis on this. I got a pair that'll fit, so we'll see what that's like. Anyway, hey, if you like this plane and you think you might want to get one, I'll have an affiliate link in my descriptions. You can click that and buy it. I get a couple bucks. It doesn't cost you any more. If you like my content, please hit that like button. It does help me from the YouTube algorithms. And if you have a question, leave a comment. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.